Seeing charts up, Carl?
I am. I am. Yeah, sorry.
Do you have, and you were kind enough to say you would record with Bandicam for us this morning. Are you about ready? Let me know when you're ready and we'll get started.
Let's get going. It's recording.
All right, good morning, all. This is another webinar for our OFC group.
Good
Today,
morning.
there he is. Good morning. There's Nevo.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. We're just getting started. So this is Saturday morning, the 24th of July. Today we're going to be going over a aha moment that I had about a week and a half ago, and I've been testing it and actually live traded it last Thursday and Friday, and it was working out very well for me. As you know, and as you are all very much aware now, the summer months are our toughest months that is possible to trade. There is no worse conditions than what we have in the summer months. What you're seeing on your monitors is this is RTY, this is Friday. It actually started down here on the 24th. And in order to save time, I've already pre-done the continuum for the day. In order to save time on this chart, I also have a YM chart that we can go over later on. All right, this is basic. This is things you guys already know. Drawing your chop boxes, from the high of within 3 bars, and then extending your boxes. This is things you're doing every day, and all of you understand this, and all of you are doing this, and that is the idea. Now you see the actual day for RTY with those chop boxes. Not included the apex flips. I always mark them myself so that I'm aware. But mine, they actually did this color. They're kind of a gray black, so that they point out to me as they come. But remember, this is 1:30 in the morning, Friday morning. And as the day goes along, remember, as the box completes, like a breakout here, you won't see this box. So you'll actually be waiting for it. But you do have a valid trade here, according to what we have right there. Here we have another breakout. It's actually a continuum trade. And only if you were smart enough to be aware where the power line was, which is the red line below, would you have taken this trade. You would have actually wanted to be in. You would have taken this bar and been in the trade here. If you were in the trade up here instead, you've actually violated the KISS rules. You're correct with the KISS rules. Let me restate that. This is a valid trade for most of you guys. For me, it is not. This is the one that I have made 2 mistakes on for the year, where I've taken an entry where the entry was after the X bar completed. Remember, we don't take the P to what would be P to X trades on an apex flip. We don't do it until it confirms. It did not confirm till back over here with at settlement. And remember, this is only 7:30 in the morning. So that's something to be aware of as we are going along. And this is throughout the day. This is open, US Open, the breakout after open, again, apex flip. So you would, if you were aware of it, remember there's your power line, there's the 50 EMA, and it's also indicating short for the long term. The 132, the 50 EMA, and the apex pattern now flipping short to complete an intraday short pattern. If you were smart, you would have actually taken it in early because you would have recognized the apex pattern. If not, it's like one of the ones that I've gotten caught on twice this year. Okay, as you see, the day goes along, day goes along, day goes along. There's little possible scalps in here, little possible scalps. But what I wanted to point out, and this is the start of my aha moment. Look at all the wicks, and they're within a bands. They're within an area here, but we have not defined where that area is yet. But you actually see lots of wicks, lots and lots of wicks on bars. So something is up, something is up in that area, but we don't have the definition of that area. It broke out of that area and it finally had a decent trade, and then broke back later. And this is 10, almost 11 o'clock in the morning. Okay, and it actually continued. What I want to show you how to find that band, how to find and define where those wicks are, where that area is, where that no man's land end is, and why it's there. The reason why it's there, I'm going to change this over to on Friday, the The continuum chart was 30 tick. So I'm actually the diagnostic chart. I need diagnostic bars, but I need to change it to 30 tick. The size of the continuum bar. I need a bigger bar in order to see what I want to show you. While this is computing and changing for you, I'll start describing what's going on. Some of you might be aware of overnight dark pools that the big boys play in, where they big money, big contracts are bought and sold amongst themselves and allowed to do this because they actually do filter in those contracts during the day. I mean, we're talking 10,000 contracts. We're talking, 15,000 contracts. I mean, possibly up to 100,000 contracts. We're talking about the Chase Morgan. We're talking about Bank of America, Wells Fargo. We're talking huge credit unions. We're talking the institutional guys, the guys with the big money, where they're pooling their money and they're moving their money accordingly. They come out and play after midnight. They come out amongst themselves and play. This is not public information. This is not information that we are allowed to know where and what and how. The reason I'm bringing this to your attention, you might or might not be aware of this, is that what we're going to be defining is helping to define those areas where they're playing and as a group they're buying. It's not just one or two of them together, but you might get 5, you might get 10 of them together. There's a lot of contracts changing hands within this group, a band, for lack of a better word. And that's what we're going to be doing, is actually showing you. This is open on the RTY chart. It is now the larger size, the continuum chart size. And we go back here to basically to the beginning of, this is actually the new day where I'm pointing. That's actually would be considered the midnight type of thing, which was actually somewhere in here, right in here somewhere. But you can actually start taking it from the prior close of the other day. What you're looking for is wicks that are lining up in bands. You're looking for a minimum of 2 to help define a top, and you're looking for a minimum of 2 to help define the bottom of that band or zone or whatever you want to call it. That's what we're looking for. I myself, because they can be so huge, I do not like to draw and include the wicks. When I'm just searching, I'll start my band. And right now we have 2 of them here that are hitting within that same area. And then there is one lower. We just kind of extend it out. Now we have 2 lower. We have a lower here and we have a lower here. We have a higher and we have a higher. So right now, not including the wicks, that's where our band is. What I'm going to do is change the color on this. I prefer gold, so that it tells me to really watch out for these areas, because these are collection areas throughout the day. These are good for one day. They're not like our chop zone boxes, where they might be good for 2 minutes, they might be good for an hour. These are good for the whole entire day. These are zones you stay out of. You do not trade in them. Look at that. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 higher, we have the 2 lower so far. Trying not to include the wicks. I'm trying to include just the body. Notice now we have a 3rd one that hit here and a 4th one. It actually came down to our gold border and then stopped. So this is verifying this is a band. This is a zone to be aware of. Now we take that number, and this is 85.4. And I actually extend that out as far as I can get it. 85.6, 85.4. Okay, I'm seeing that band. And that actually is right now is taking us through almost our whole entire day. It actually took us through 12 noon. And I stop count after 12 noon. What you need to also check is sometimes you will get bands that are 2 of them. You'll get 2 of them covering a market, or there might possibly be a band way up above and way down below that we're not seeing because it's limited size on our charts that I have. It might possibly be there, but we don't know it. It might be a prior day that they're still as active.
Craig,
But
would you mind just repeating exactly how, what bands you looked at in order to draw the gold?
okay,
Uh,
what I did, this is midnight. The first
okay,
black line, vertical line, that's midnight. You can act, I usually start back here where the ice flips, which is the end of the prior day.
right. Okay.
Okay, I'm looking in here and I'm looking for wicks, bars with wicks. I'm looking for, see how this bar has a wick?
Yep.
This bar has a wick. Okay, this bar, if that wick is out of nowhere, it's just a reversal. It might possibly be what I'm looking for, it might not. But I need that to line up with other bars where they're starting to show wicks. Like here, this is the first up wick of the band that I've drawn. This is the second up wick. I don't include the wicks. I try not to. I try to only include the band, the body of the bar. Maybe
Uh-huh.
that's a better way of putting it. The body of the bar. See how it came real close over here?
Yeah.
So I actually could define it a little bit less right to there. Okay, I need a minimum of two. Excuse me. I need a minimum of 2 bars with wicks that actually do that. Notice they're coming back to a combination blue ice and settlement. Pardon me, one moment, take a drink. Okay, that's better. But because we're on because we're on such bigger bars, we're on 30 tick bars for RTY. Well, that's a big size. RTY does not like to trade on this size. It doesn't like to trade anything over about 22 ticks. Anything over that, it really hiccups. It does not act like it should. It does not act like a normal market. Anything over 22 ticks. So I'm looking for bars with wicks. I'm looking for bars with the minimum of 2 wicks exceeding on the top and a minimum of 2 wicks exceeding on the bottom. Here for the bottom, my bottom definition to start with, I have this bar with a wick. The next one I have actually is here. You see that one? That's actually a bar with a wick on 30 tick bars, which is actually the continuum size chart we would normally be using. I need a bigger size. So then I start to stretch it out, and then I will adjust as needed. This line that you see right here, that
Yes.
is open. That's 930.
Okay.
Okay, so you see it's actually hitting 1, 2, 3, 4 times prior to open on my upper line. So the upper line looks good. We will get confirmation later on. The lower line, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. You see that? 4
Yes.
lines that confirm my bottom line. So,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
And the reason is this is what this is. This is a band, a zone, it's not, I don't know what else to call it. I've been calling them ICBs, institutional collection bands. ICB,
ICB.
ICBs, B as in boy. What they are is institutional collection bands.
Okay.
This is where the big boys are playing at night when we're sleeping.
How
Okay.
many bands might there be
I've
during
seen
the
up
evening?
to, good question, excellent question. I've seen 2 most days this last week. I found a third one yesterday, but it was towards the end of the day where it finally materialized, and it was because it was below the current market. It was probably a prior day that was still active because it was active. You can show because you'll get wicks in that area. Okay, starting the day, we're going to presume now that this is open. We're coming up on open. This is actually what I'm seeing. That I do my regular chalk boxes, 2-bar chalk boxes in kind of that pinkish color so I can see through them.
Yeah.
And the institution, and you know, these are always your choice, always how dense you want. This is going to be an additional thing on the charts, which I'm not happy with, but I don't know what else to do. But I do it in gold so that I can overlay, as you see, I can overlay it and still be able to see through and see what's going on. This is the bar, the 30 tick bar that we used to originally get to this chart. It's the same size as the continuum bars, only it needs to be done on a diagnostic bar chart. I've tried to convert the continuum chart, and for some reason my Ninja hiccups. It does not like it. So I just take my diagnostic chart and change it, which I'm going to do right now. Oops. I'm going to change. There it is. I need data series. I'm going back to Friday's call, which was 20 ticks for RTY. I'm showing you RTY because it's easier to see, and this is something you guys have the ability to trade. I did this on NQ also, which are 52 tick bars on Friday.
Yeah.
I picked up what was it, a 40 some odd tick trade that broke out. I caught almost the whole entire thing, and I don't usually catch all of it. I will move stops a little too tight as I'm reading. Okay, so this actually, you're seeing this. This is start of the day. This is what we had before, what we've already drawn for you guys. Would it be easier if I did this with the pointer instead of the crosshairs? It might be. All right, I'm sorry. I apologize, guys. All right, please note, we're going into open, which is here. Please note the 132 is on a lowering scale. We are actually on a apex red pattern here. We have another apex flip here. So now we're actually mixed. The 50 EMA is actually staying fairly close and almost level, which is kind of an indication to watch out, but not really. It depends. But we have a mixed pattern going into open. We have a green apex. We have a short 132, and we have going into apex in the open, we have a short 50. So this is a mixed day. We go according to the apex pattern if there's a trade setup. Look at our band. We're right in the middle of our band area. We just had a breakout prior to open, but we also went down to the 0.25 deviations. Okay. As you see, this we had no exceeding volume was not valid. There's no trade setup. Okay, our first band, I just drew those earlier because it's easier to show you guys rather than have to draw them and then have you wait, so we can speed this up a little bit. We have a complete intraday 132, 50 EMA, and red apex pattern. So we are looking for shorts. Our P to X trades are going to be stronger and longer trades. This is not a valid trade. This is the apex pattern. We're waiting for the first valid P, red P. Okay, so this is not a valid. There is our first red P. Okay, look at the EV. EV's building, and we're at 944. Okay, we're starting. And possible trade here, an A to P. You see the power of this. This is the power line.
Yes.
It's dotted because it's an older one, but when it was live and active, this would have actually been solid red. But because this is history based, it'll be dotted. Okay, so to me, there's no real trade there because that power line is strong enough to revert back. And as you see, we're down below with our institutional zone above, which is good. So we're just chopping. Is there a trade here? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you actually have a trade here if you want it. I probably did record it as one. This is an A to P. About there to there, and I think that's about right. I think 0.6. I think it's 0.8, if I'm not mistaken. So that is a valid scalp. But as an A to P, you would be expecting a scalp. You would be expecting no more than the power line. So if you were actually playing this, you could have actually gotten out about where my arrow is because of the chop box. You see the exhaustion box is up there. When that was forming, you could have actually shoved your stop up and gotten like 10 ticks out of this thing safely. You would have safely been able to get 10 ticks. So there's our first. It won't stay because I need it actually a little larger. Anyway, that's our first possible trade. Look at that, just back into the chop. So far, it's primarily been chopped. We had an initial breakout. Was that about 9:35? We're chopping. Okay, this is starting to worry me. We're getting towards closer to that zone. We have a potential breakout. We also have a 0.25 deviation level. So you want to I think that's 0.25. Anyway, you want to be careful of the deviation level. Do you take the trade or not? It's your choice. Push come to shove, you would be in probably if you wanted to, as a valid trade, but you don't have a valid trade because of the apex flip here. You were at flip back long. If you caught that, you would be fine if you act, because otherwise you would have had to been in back down here. And nobody in their right mind in the summer is going to take a trade inside a known chop box area. So this is actually a no brainer, no win, no loss. We're waiting again because we're long. We're waiting for a green P, and there's our actual first green P. So nothing in this trade. We would not have taken anything in this trade because we're waiting for this apex pattern to confirm. It's these trades sometimes guys take and they get away with them. Sooner or later, you will get hurt. And by hurt, I mean it'll be like one bar and then reversing and go on. And those hurt a lot because your max stopped out. Okay, again, an apex P. So we're cycling. We're in a very small area here. The area is actually being defined and being enlarged slightly, 3 bars now instead of the 2 bars it was. But your apex pattern, as our day goes along, that's it for the day. I mean, we're already past noon. We never touched that zone, but we were aware of that zone. Okay. So any questions on this kind of why is it important to know what am I doing? What am I doing different? Any questions at all? No?
Well, I'm still a little bit confused on the yellow zone, Craig, and that, I mean, I understand what's there. I guess I'm still having difficulty in the, how do you mark it? In other words,
Okay. Correct.
If I start out in the morning and I want to do what you're doing, where do I mark it?
Okay, first off, you're because you're doing Nadex, Mike. You're doing bigger bars for Friday on Nadex. RTY medium, a medium bar. Bear with me one moment. RTY. A medium bar was 13.
Right.
Okay, no, I got that wrong. Oh, it was 54 was large, 27 was medium, 13 was small. So you would have started out, man, medium, large, medium, or small. You always round up, so you would have started out with a 28 tick bar.
Right.
Okay, let's play with this a little bit. Are you guys okay with this?
Sure.
Okay, so it'll help define your areas again for you too. I need. Fortunately, I've got a pretty good computer, so it doesn't take all day to get it to work for me to reload. Being on camera, there is a slight delay anyway. So we're going to do 28 tick, which is your daily for you, Mike, on Nadex. That's a medium-sized bar. 28 times 1.5 equals 42. So now the 42 would be your continuum size where you can start marking your boxes. Your boxes are going to be a little bit different, but they'll still be in line with the general areas we have.
Right.
Okay. Taking that 28 that we currently have, that's your current start size. That's the size you're trading an 8X on. And now multiplying it by 42, by 1.5, you're getting to 42 tick.
Right.
It's the same size that your continuum chart is going to be, only you need the diagnostic bars to see the gold zone or that yellow zone. Okay, so that's what I'm doing now is converting this over. Okay, now we take this. This was midnight. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Okay, midnight for you, Mike, is right here. The end of the day was right here, which we can use. Do you see the wick?
Yes, sir.
That's actually midnight because of the smaller bar. You see the wick, you see the wick, you see the wick.
Yes,
You
sir.
see the wick, you see the wick, you see the wick. That area, that whole area,
Okay.
try and draw it from the, I'm just gonna extend this out and then I'm gonna change the color. And then we can, we can define it.
Okay. And we do it from midnight, right?
Yeah. You can actually start from the prior day if you want, if you've got good work. Look at the wicks in here.
Okay,
They're
that part,
prior day. But
okay,
the idea is to get it, you have to have at least 2 for the higher and at least 2 for the lower. And
that's,
try to define them with, and this is actually after open is when you get a touch back into it. So actually during the day or starting the morning, you would have been there because of this wick. You would have been low. So you have 1, 2, 3 for your bottom. You have 2 for your top. Your top actually can come down to the body of the bar. It's gonna be big enough as it is. So go down to the top of the bar, the actual body part.
uh-huh,
Okay, now regardless of whatever, this is set for the day. It is good for the day. I got to go back to the crosses so I can read the size. Okay, so it's 80. What's that? 83.8, and I can actually transfer it back over.
okay, now I understand. That's
83.8.
excellent.
Okay, that is your band starting the day. Now it's up to you to pay attention to what's going on. Please note, there is a deviation level here, a half the deviation, which is a strong level. So I'm expecting some wicks here. Is there a possibility of another band here? Yeah, there's a possibility we can see, but you still have, everything is still tied to the 0.5. So I want to see wicks up in here somewhere, like a wick here, which we have, and a wick here. There's so you've got some down volume, but you do have 2 higher levels. This wouldn't count because that's actually at 0.25, which is even stronger than 0.5. So I would be after open because this is open.
Is that yellow area, Craig, is that as strong as a deviation level?
No.
Okay,
What this is this is a chop zone, a
okay,
continuous chop zone for the day. Going
okay,
into this zone, and you can actually use it for stops. You can actually use it for take profit areas. Going
okay,
into the zone, the likelihood of your contract being stopped out or taken, reversed on you and it will be either buy or sells. It doesn't matter. The likelihood is that you will get stopped out.
okay, excellent.
We're defining these bands where big boys, multi institutions have indicated their willingness to collect contracts and multi-contracts. There might be 10,000, there might have been 100,000 contracts changed for that band overnight. That's the volume that these guys deal with.
Because that's what gave us the band was their trading.
Correct.
Ah,
Okay. By the same token,
okay,
none of that information where they're trading actually ever becomes public. And the
Great.
reason they're allowed to get away with it is that they filter those contracts that have already closed and already recorded in the banks or institutions accounts. They filter those
throughout the day.
into the market as the market is progressing.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, those bands, you have to do it every morning, or the bands could be used for every day, the same bands? I mean,
Every morning you can actually do it pre-open. I have YM chart up also we're going to check on, which is YM does not move as much.
okay,
As,
yes,
yeah,
I understand.
go ahead.
My question is, let's see this today. Let's see today I did that bands. Okay.
That
Next day,
that is RTY for Friday.
yeah. Okay, but this band you can use it for the next day, or you have
No.
to delete it and to put the new one from the morning.
Have to put a new one in there starting
Oh,
again
okay.
at midnight
Okay.
plus. Yeah, it's a daily thing. but
Okay.
it's not like chop boxes where they're limited use. They might only be in play for 10 minutes. They might only be in play for an hour. This is actually band is actually proven to stay active for the whole entire day.
Okay, I see.
And sometimes I suspect where the big boys might have been playing earlier, you might have a band up here someplace where it's not seen from a prior day, and you might have one down below here where it's not seen because of a prior day. The only way to know is if you get into the area and it starts wicking on you. Now you have, and most of the questions that most of the guys are going to get, as I did, is Craig, why don't, and this was actually 30 tick. This was designed for when I had the smaller RTY chart up to 20 tick. Most of the guys are going to say, well, Craig, why don't you just take it off of these wicks? It's because of the nature of the bars. The bars are designed to flip around and show you level areas of chop. They are not going to show you the exact limitations. In other words, seeing what I'm seeing here, RTY on Friday morning, because again, this is midnight right here. Seeing the chop in here, I would expect to have a band down here. But in reality, when we actually were drawing our charts for the day, we did not get one. And when the day went along, we did not get a gold band. And as the day went along on the larger continuum, I'm sorry, the larger diagnostic bars, we actually did not ever get a lower band down below here. It did not define, but it did define up here. So if, okay, everybody understand?
So, Craig, what you're saying, just to make sure and to recap, is that you are defining that area as an area to be aware of.
Yes, not only aware
Then,
of, but primarily stay out of, but go ahead,
and
yes.
then go ahead throughout the day in looking for trades the way we look for trades.
Correct, and if you're,
Division levels, apex pattern, volume, and so on. So that doesn't interfere at all with the strategies that we use.
correct,
It's
it's
just
actually,
indicating an area to be aware of and basically stay away from.
correct. That is
And
correct.
then to reiterate what Steve was saying, because you indicated many times that this could be an area that was drawn, that was defined the day before or 2 days before. So it's not a bad idea to leave that area on for 1 or 2 days.
It wouldn't hurt. The problem is transferring it over from day to day. You're looking for the active, being aware that that's there, or have
What
it
do
be
you mean
above you, or
transferring over?
have it be aware because it's above or below you is great. It's not a current active zone though. It's a
Yeah,
day to day.
no,
It's a day to day.
always draw the new one as you were saying before, but leave those as zones, to be aware of for the
Correct.
next couple
Okay.
of days.
Yes, I have no problem with that, and I agree with that. What you need to check is each day, where is their active zone? Where were they
Right.
busy last
I
night?
do that every day, yeah.
Yeah, and draw those. And when you get the market trading in those zones, those gold zones, it's best just to stay out. Have any of you ever been in what looked like a perfect apex pattern setup with the your KISS V10, where you've got your, say, a P to E trade?
Yeah.
It's breaking out of chop, and then it goes a bar or two, and you get hit, or it may maybe turn around on you right off the bat.
Those
Have you
things
ever had that
happen?
happen? Huh?
Do those things happen?
Yeah, but when
Really?
but when they happen,
I get caught there all the time.
but when they happen, you will usually find you are in one of these ICB bands,
Huh.
institutional collections bands, because that's where they are. And most of the time, that's where you get hit, and that's where you get taken out. But by this knowing where they are, you can also use them for potential take profit areas, or at a minimum to tighten your stop zone. Okay, this is Friday for the 24th and this is the YM chart. YM, excuse me, YM for Friday was 30 tick diagnostic, 44 tick continuum. So here's our continuum charts. I went ahead and marked up the save time because we don't know. In other words, we would not be seeing these from about there on. We would not see these set up yet, but I did them the whole day, so I have them. That way I can show you and save you some time. Okay, that being the case, this is currently, remember this for the day is actually 30 tick bars. We take the 30 tick bars and convert it to 44. Remember, so you can see the 44 tick for our diagnostic starting at the new day. And now we're actually going to be drawing and looking for the new chop box, the institutional collection zones. Okay, we have a wick here. I mean, just look for wicks. We have a wick, but they're right at the 0.25. We have a wick, wick. So there's a potential. We know there's a potential. It's not been really good, very well defined yet. But we know that's kind of and I'll turn this to the gold right now so I can show you guys a little easier. So we know that that's a potential right now, but it's only 1 and 1, actually 2, no, yeah, 1 and 1, 1 up and 1 down. I need at least a minimum of 2. Okay, there I've got my 2 and potentially even lower yet, which I probably would be. I'd probably go down to there just to play it safe. But we're looking to see where is this going to work? Where is this going to work? Okay, now for the upper, we've got it hits again. Right there. The upper, it hits again here. So now we have our upper technically defined 1 and 2. The lower we have, because of the zone here, I wouldn't take that one, but we have 1. We have some intrabar. And so I want to confirm it, and actually it will confirm just after open with that bar and that bar. So now we have a defined 2 bar higher, 2 bar lower. So that's probably going to be our zone for the day. We'll wait for the day to confirm this. I'm going to extend this, and then I'll go back to the pointer, 348.
And those, Craig, on those bars that you're using to define the upper and lower limits of the ICB, are the wicks touching the same tick?
Usually they'll be off. Normally they will be slightly. Okay, there's my. Normally they're going to be slightly off, but I need them the body of the bar as close as possible. See, if I take them to the wicks, the top of the wicks, it's going to be up here and it's going to be down basically up to the 0.5 deviation. If you use the wicks themselves,
Okay.
if you try and take defined by the body of the bar, it will help narrow that range down a little bit, and it does seem to be more accurate. That's from testing.
So the body of the bar at
This is
those
where
upper and
what I'm
lower
looking-
limits are going to be very close.
Correct.
They're not going to be off like 10 ticks or 20.
Correct.
You know,
It should be
15
very,
ticks.
very close, and it does matter.
Okay.
It does. See, if you look past prior here, which is actually the prior day, you see that actually would have extended here. For upper, it would have been 1 and 2, and we have 1 on the lower starting here. Then as we work our way around, there's a second lower, there's a third lower, 4, and then now it's working interbars. So we have 2 upper and 4 lower right now. This is all pre-market because this is open. I wanted to go to the pointer so I can show you. But that actually would, if you would have extended it down to the prior day, you would have seen that it actually would work. That's why a lot of times I'll take it to where the ice levels flip. Just because sometimes I can pick up confirmation from a prior day. They're only, the guys in the institutions, they're playing here from close on, but they don't get, excuse me, they don't seem to get active until after midnight. Has anybody ever looked at an overnight chart and you notice all of a sudden, boom, something happened and these markets took off on you? Guess who caused that?
Craig, how come that is usually not reflected in the volume?
Because these volumes of these recorded and how can I say it? The contracts that these guys are changing The 10,000, the 100,000 contracts are not reflected in the daily volumes because they actually don't show up. Most of these volumes are trickled in. Most of them have already been entered prior to actual market open. That's when you see large movements, especially like CL that likes to move early, sometimes from the DAX open, which is 3 a.m., and then all of a sudden take off on you and, pick up 100 ticks, which is, $1,000 on the CL, that kind of thing. It shows back then because they're the only one trading. The volume's not high. Look at the volumes. They're telling you nobody's hardly doing anything in here on YM, the Dow. But now it starts picking up. And what is that? It's almost midnight. See how the volume's picking up? You ever wondered where these come from overnight? From here, this is actually from close of yesterday, which is Thursday, to open US is right here. That time allotment, look at the volumes. That volume, these guys have bought and sold. They've already arranged a price. The price is done. They've agreed to whatever. They just put out there, I want X amount at this price for this market, and somebody accepts it. It's already done. So now they start getting the orders in, and that's why you're seeing these exceeding volumes. Have you ever wondered that? Anybody else besides me ever wonder that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is what's going on. And it's almost always after midnight, but before open. It's always earlier. It's like midnight to 4. They're done by then. Their day is done. They've already made what they want to do. They've set their positions that they want. Now it's up to their own in-house traders to collect contracts in the zones that they have defined overnight. This information is passed on inner house to their own traders. They have a plan. We want to work in this area. We're going to collect contracts. We're going to collect buys, and we're going to collect sells. And ultimately, we want to be, 100,000 or 500,000 buys, and then we're going to start trickling the sales out. We're going to get rid of them so that we can start taking profits on the buys. And that's how one way they get rid of them. They'll start little profits to get rid of the sells or the buys, and they work it. So they're working tools that they have available. This actually, we're defining more than one big guy, more than one company that combined with another company, they are disclosing, they're showing us their hand. Is this one individual company? No way. Is this maybe 6 companies that happen to be wanting to work in the same area? Yeah, that's what I'm showing you guys. This is my aha moment. This defines why things were happening that I could not figure out why they were happening. These zones that change daily are what's been driving me crazy. These zones that change daily are why my ATM has not worked. I have a valid ATM that'll work, but it will be up to you to be aware of these zones and stay out of them. You can't trade in them. You're going to get hurt. Okay?
Very good.
Okay, we're going to change this. This is YM for Friday. 44 tick right now, which is the larger diagnostic. Don't forget, you have to change back. Yes, I did it once last week. I forgot to change back. I'm going, why isn't this working? It's because I was using too big a bar. I forgot to change it back. I figured all this out. I just didn't do it. The trading size for Friday on YM was 30, and the diagnostic was 44, which I've already shown you. This will only take a moment. We're going to convert this back to our trading chart now. Mike, as you know, you're one step up from us. Your trading chart would be 40, and then 40 times 1.5, which is 60 for your continuum chart.
Yeah.
But but for YM for Friday, but you draw the ICPs the same identical way, the institutional collection band. And that's what it is. It's a band. It's not a zone. It's a band because it runs the whole day. Watch out. Be aware. Danger. Okay. Here's
Right.
actual, here's, okay, here's open. Guess what, guys? We're in the middle of the bottom of that institutional collection band. That's not good.
No.
Okay, but we have a potential breakout. We have a 0.25 deviation. We have power line above. We are on a red apex pattern. This is a A to P trade. We have a level here. We have the fourth bar here. So this is actually, and because I don't have the X on, I gotta just check it. You know you're safe to there. You probably would want on the ATM, it would actually be out somewhere in there for 28 ticks. Your third contract is up to you to manipulate. I would try to take it, and as you see, it actually hit red ice, and it hit twice. It hit it here and it hit it here. If that thing hit it on this first one, I would shove that contract up. I myself would probably be out about there with 37 ticks. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Okay, the rest of you okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, I just need to make sure I'm not losing anybody. Now we're in a regular chop band that we ourselves drew. This is actually in process. We don't know exactly, but we know that by the continuum chart that there is a start of a band. We had two of them. So our band would actually be coming in about on this bar. We also know we have a potential short. We also know that there's 0.25 deviation, and we are currently in our ICB zone or band. No trade for me. I'm going to stay out of this. Look at the EV. It actually came up a little bit. It was no EV here at the end of it. That's what partly stalled this. You see how it's slightly below? All right, let's continue. I figured by doing two charts, I could help you the most and get you to learn the most. And this is why I wanted to do YM. I have not looked at YM. I just put it up this morning so it'll be available. But this is actually what we're seeing on 30 tick charts. So yeah, we're going down into this. We have the we have the 0.25 deviation. We have 50 EMA. We have the power line here. We have red ice flow. This whole area is a mess. Be very careful, guys. This is a get hurt area. Okay. This is our third bar. Nothing. We're still inside the band. This is potential. In other words, if you wanted an entry, the entry could be placed up here while we wait for a breakout. But it has to be that, because that then would break the red ice. That is a choice you have. If that was the case, we would be in that one. If you took that because of EV, I missed that. But because of EV, that trade would have been not valid because of EV. See how it dropped off and below. Okay, we're going back into that whole mess again, guys. It's a double band. We have the gold band up here. We have the overlapping chop band, which is defined. We've already defined the chop band because it's from here to here is what will show on the larger tick chart. That is showing our defined area. Okay, continue. We're still playing with it. There's the fourth bar. We're still inside. Excuse me. We're still inside the chop band. We're also now inside the ICB zone. So that's a double whammy. This is a stay out. This is a get hurt. We're also close to it's 11:34. So we're getting where we finally do have EV, but myself, I want this at the close of the band or slightly below the half, a fifth bar. See here, even though it's less than half a bar, I would, if at all possible, if it was still valid 4 bars, I would wait for the next bar to form an entry off of that closed bar. But this is coming up on noon. We can't expect much. EV is staying low. We're in a double whammy. We're in the ICB area and the chop area. We're breaking out of the chop area, but we're already on our fifth bar, so it's a no trade. Guess what? It turns around. It's after 12 noon, guys, but the EV picked up slightly. But look, it turned around on us. It wicked. It wicked like it would have. Look back, look left, look at the wick. We had a wick here, we had a wick here, we had wicks inside the band here, 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 here. These are wicks even prior to open that are wicking inside our ICB zone. That gentleman, is my aha moment that I had a week and a half ago. To be able to define, to be able to put it into words, what I saw. It's one thing to see it. It's another thing to put it on words and try and teach it. And that's what I'm attempting to do this morning.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Wow.
Any questions?
Thank you so much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Yeah, Craig.
Yes,
Hi.
please. Go ahead, Carl.
How do you define a second band?
In the mornings, I can try and do it. It happened with and I think it was NQ on Friday. I can, if you've got time, if everybody doesn't mind, I can actually go through and try and get that chart up.
Yeah. Thank you.
What will happen is that I'm actually rebuilding. And I don't want to actually bring up my trading chart because that's all marked up, and I want to keep those marks. So Friday, for your FYI, it was the tick size. First off, we change this. We can do it right on this chart, and then I'll remove everything. Friday, the diagnostic tick size was 52 ticks,
52, yeah.
and the continuum is 78. So I can only do it one at a time, so bear with me. Then I can delete everything and we'll rebuild. But I believe it was, I know it was Thursday. Friday, I'm trying to remember if there was two or not. I think there was one that showed up later in the day. Okay. That's why I was trying to be ready so that you don't have to wait on this. I'll wait on my computer. It's actually a good computer, but it will take a minute. It's converting over. And then I got to change the tick size. In the meantime, if there's any questions, please, this is an excellent time for questions while I'm waiting on my charts. Nevo, you okay with all this? Steve?
Yep.
Vidya, you okay? Carl, am I making sense?
Yes, it does. I'm still a little fuzzy on how to define that upper band in the first place. But do you always start at midnight and then go forward for the whole day?
You can, yes. You need a minimum of 2 wicks, bars with wicks, using the larger diagnostic bar.
Right.
And then your lowered is defined by the minimum of 2 lower wicks bars, and then stretch as you start to stretch that out for the day. You might possibly see another bar that's a little bit lower, a little bit higher, to include in that. But 2 is the count. You must have at least 2. And I've never had wrong one. I have never had only 2 bars. I've always had 3 or 4 pre-US Open.
Okay. All right, cool.
Okay, Friday, let's see which I'm on. NQ is 78. That's my diagnostic size for Friday. See, we're starting doing it this way. Excuse me. Doing it this way, we're starting out with a brand new chart, and this chart is not marked up because it's new. It doesn't have OP read, but we don't need OP for this. Okay. Can't do anything until it gets here. Okay, so we back it up to the prior day. This is 10 a.m., 9:30 a.m., 2 a.m., 1 a.m. You see, this is actually the start of a new day here,
Mm-hmm.
or thereabouts, actually there.
Actually,
And I need this. This is I need it. I'm also changing over my continuum so that I can start to draw continuum chop boxes, and that will be on 78 ticks. Remember, we use the same size as the continuum, only we're using the this is okay. There's 7.
But why the diagnostic 78? No understand.
I'm using when you compute your continuum size based on your diagnostic size. That's the multiplier 1.5. 1.5 times 52 is 78.
Okay, but you have now the diagnostic on 78. Why you don't put it on 52?
I will be after after I've written and defined my this area. That's what I want to remove.
Oh,
This area, I will. But currently, we're looking at this as if it's a brand new day. And the reason that was there is that was actually what was on my trading chart. Okay, this is actually continuum chart starting at midnight. Right now, this doesn't matter. We don't want this. We will keep this and actually mark these boxes later on. Okay. But what we're looking for is midnight or possibly a little bit earlier. We're looking to define the chop area. We have the 0.25, so I'm expecting chop. I'm expecting these two. This one is a possible one. Okay, there's another one. There's another shorter one here. So we have a start of an area to draw. And this is from midnight until 5:30. It hasn't defined yet. See, there's a little wick here below the 0.25. I hope you can see that. I'm going to actually start there. I'm going to use that as an upper to start with. I'm just going to drag it down until I start to see a lower. Okay, and I'm just setting this here. Right now, I'm going to change it to gold so I don't confuse it with some ones that are already there. This is not defined yet. Because this is so close to 0.25, this could very easily have been attracted to it, and that's the drawback. That one will be, because we're such a big bar, 78. See this one again? So if we take that area now and define it smaller based off of that wick, now we have 2. Notice it also came up to that level and stopped. Interesting, huh?
Which bar is the second defining bar?
It's actually, I've got stuff around it, which means there's an apex flip and other things that happened in there. Let me get rid of this. When you, okay.
The volume.
See, this is marked up from my Friday chart. My actual trading chart Friday. Okay, is that easier to see now? 1, 2, guess what? There's going to be 3. The bottom is not fully defined yet, guys.
No.
But notice the body of the bar, the body of the bar. That's ideal. And I now have 3 tops. I have an intraday. I have a deviation level in there also. And this is only 7:30 in the morning.
Wow.
We have a potential. We're looking for lows now. I have a low here. I have low. I have wick, and then it's clear. Okay, so if I try this at the top of the bar that's breaking above, that's a potential. Technically, I have a couple of wicks in there. In other words, that's close. That would be in that area, just as that one is in a trading area. Right now, this is a very big trading area, as you can see. I would love to define that down. The only way I'm going to be able to is to get a better lower wicked bar. So let's move it forward a little bit. There's another wick, right? But by using that bar, just dragging just the bottom, we're still pretty tight. We hit it here, 1. It got rid of this one. It's actually hit again 2. See the small wick, guys?
Yep.
See this, and then the wick here, 3. So actually, I would take it down slightly more to the top of the body of that bar. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, now I take that. I need to do my X's so I can do this correctly. Now at what's that? 82.5, 83.25.
Yeah.
What you'll find pre-market, after you've got an idea where this is, you can drag that to the edge of your thing, keeping it on that level, then drag it in here, and it'll extend it about another hour. Okay, so you can actually extend it. All right, here we are, midnight. So this is where we think we're going to be working with. This is where we think their area is. Okay, and as you see, it actually is coming to life. Our open, US Open is what, 33, 30.5, 30.6.2, basically. I put it below. My bad. Okay. So that's more or less where our US Open is going to be, and there's our defined area. We're going in. Look at this. Here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Notice, and the chart, so it's easier to see. Notice it did not reach to the 0.5 deviation. Everybody would expect it to reach to the 0.5 deviation. It did not, because it's actually in that ICP band area. Okay. But we have actually a chop box that was drawn here, and this was actually a partial chop box that I removed. Oh, I did it again, guys. Look, 78. I'm trying to be efficient and help you. I've actually forgot to change the 78 back to 52, so we're gonna have to start over. But our ICB zone is drawn for the day. I did this actually the other day trading. I forgot to trade back, and I traded off of like a 78 tick bar, and I got a profit. I took it as a scalp, but in reality, when I realized and then changed it over, it was actually more than a scalp. It was actually a 3-bar win, a 3-contract win, ATM.
Wow.
But this is what I'm talking about, trying to proceed and do this in an efficient manner for you. I forgot to change it back to where it needed to be. Okay. Let's go back. Hey, there's our zone, guys. Looks bigger than I thought, huh? 1320, 1325. Take it in there, go a little longer. I'm just doing this for efficiency so we can continue. I'll be with you in just a few moments. So I want to settle. We're going to call it good there. Okay, let's go back to open. See how big that is actually now that it's down to the correct bar size? But look at this. Like I showed you earlier, this bar not only got to the top of the chop box, but it also hit the 50 EMA and then reversed. That's to be expected. These. Go ahead. What?
Would you have taken that trade, the P and E?
No, not likely, because we started off low volume, then the EV was building. This is an A to P trade, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Going into this box, no.
I mean, going out of the box with a apex next to it.
You mean that where the flip back here?
No, to the right. Go to the right. Right there where you have the P and an E.
Correct. Oh, that one. Okay, that breakout, yeah, but I would want it below the 0.7. We have 4 bars to play with.
Okay, I'm with you now.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. That bar is about halfway. We are out of we're in the prior chop zone, but that box is ended. So I feel confident actually taking it off of there and going forward with that.
Okay,
And
okay.
this scaling is not working properly. Okay, the ATM 2 bars, and then it stays 3 bars back. So there's 1, 2, 3. So then it would be down to here. Then as that bar closed, we would be down to here. As that bar closed, we would be down to there, and that's going to be real close within a tick. But
Yeah,
still, 24.75. That's 100 plus ticks, guys.
that's right.
I'll
Yeah.
take it. If I get stopped out, I got stopped out. But I'm finding that, and what the ATM is set up for is the bar you're working. It's 3 closed bars back. 1, 2, 3. So because we're going short, it'll be on the short, so it'll be brought over. That's how I figured it. Okay, and that's a free trade. The first one comes off at the close of the entry bar. The second one comes off the contracts as the close of the first full bar.
Yes.
So, and then the third contract comes real close to the ATM, the break even, but not quite. It's usually within a couple of ticks. And then the next one, when the bar moves, then one more bar, then it comes into the positive. I think it goes to the close of an entry, if I'm not mistaken. It depends on the bar size you're using, and you'll see that if you will run the new ATM. The numbers have been changed a little bit. You're only changing 2 numbers, which I'll review in a few minutes. But you see how we avoided, and we were looking for this zone. This is a huge zone, guys. You see why I only do the body of the bars? This is a huge zone, even with just using the body of the bars. Okay, and because I've expanded this, we'll bring it up. On deviation, you're going to expect chop around a 1 deviation. This is normal. This is also 9:40 in the morning. Our open was back here. Here was open. So it's only 9:40 in the morning. We've already got 100 plus ticks, right at 100 ticks under our belt. Okay. We have a defined, because this is all finally defined in chop box area. Okay. Which comes off of our continuum. We get an apex flip. Here we're short. We have the 50 EMA, of course, which always trails close by. We're getting an apex flip to long, which means we should have it above, and we do. And notice how it's starting to come down into and closer to the market. So we're on a mixed intraday, and thus follow the apex pattern, looking for our first closed P. And there's our first closed P. We're also watching to see about wicks. Right now, we know we have them at the -1 deviation. There's a potential, and it's not confirmed yet, but we actually have a potential zone down here that's forming.
Well, now, when you say potential, what could you describe potential?
This is something that might have been on our charts from the prior day, but we didn't have the charts going down enough. Remember, this is 1 deviation. We didn't have our charts going down enough to look for it.
Right.
I'm finding if you carry those over from day to day, it's actually kind of risky, because you're going to start eliminating trades that you don't necessarily have to. If you pay attention, you're better off. And what I've drawn, if you'll look, I started it early so you could see, but we have an up here.
Yep.
We have right on the level here. We have right on the level here, and then it came back in and wicked down on there. So that's a potential upper.
Okay.
We have a bar lower, a bar lower, a bar lower, bar with wicks and wicks. So we potentially, because this is the lowest of the bunch, technically that I would use or try and use as there at the bottom of that bar. But that's touching. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4. There's 4 lower. There's 1. It wicked inside it, which is good. Confirming it 1, 2, almost touched it. Then it came back and wicked down 3, but then it continued on. So there's a potential. It's hard to say, but
Right.
no, it's because of the growth on that, and that's why actually it showed itself.
Oh, wow.
It was right about 61, somewhere in there, somewhere close in there. But yes, but now we know it, but it never hit it again. So but our own continuum got us through that. We never broke out of that until here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can take this long, hoping to get to the 0.7 deviation, right?
That would be your target.
0.7 deviation. This is a flux level, which by itself is not much strength. But when you combine them together or combine them with deviation levels, then they get strong.
Okay.
But by themselves, they're nothing.
Well, this volume on the bottom is just unbelievable. It's just huge.
Yeah, and that's the way Friday went. So I would have expected to be out there with 23 ticks or 23, which is 52 ticks
Wow.
at $5 a tick. That's where I would expect to be out. Okay, we're coming back in. We have a potential continuation trade. Myself, I would not be taking this. It's a nice looking trade, and the reason I wouldn't be, you won't see this, you won't see that box. As you see this building, where are you going? You're going into already known and has proven itself in ICP area. I'm staying out. I don't care. Let it run. But if it runs through it, great. I'll get it next time. But I'm going to be selective in my contracts. I'm going to be selective in my trading because this is the summer months.
Hey, Craig,
Yes,
can those ICBs also act like a magnet?
they could possibly. I have not found much there unless they're close to a deviation level. They aren't a strong draw by themselves. Is that what you're asking? No.
Yeah.
But you combine them with flux levels, you combine them with 50 EMA, you combine them with the 132. The 132 by itself is not a draw, but combining with other things, it can be.
Hmm.
So you combine it with other things and it will be. If you'll notice here, there's no wick. It didn't fight it, nor was there a wick. That's telling you it's not a strong level. This level that we arbitrarily put is
Mhm.
not a strong level. Okay, we look here prior. We went into it and reversed, which is what we're expecting. But that level is actually no wicks. That's not a strong, as we define that level, is not a strong level from prior history. Does
Okay.
that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
And that's what I'm after. I'm after your questions because this is the best time to ask. So I would not be going into this trade. I would, if I was going to be going into it, I would take it off of this bar, not this bar, mainly because this is a 0.7 deviation and it is a deviation level. Even though it's a continuation trade, the blue line does not count. So I would probably, if I were to take it, I would be in this trade and I would be in here and I would be watching, and expecting a scalp or whatever, for whatever reason. Okay, it's only 10:30 in the morning on NQ. Okay, but these huge volumes, part of this is what, but you're seeing what's happening by these guys and people trading inside these areas. They're getting killed. Can you imagine what the sniper traders are doing? Unfortunately, but they have runs. They're getting teased with. They're getting some really good simplicity trades, and they're getting teased with some really good regular sniper trades. But then they hit an area, and bam, they're dead, and they don't know it. They have no conceptual idea of what we are seeing and why we're seeing it. It's not so much what we're seeing, it's why we're seeing it. And that's my aha moment. I knew they were there. I knew there was something going on, but I've never been able to define it. And then I finally was.
This is revolutionary. Really is.
You're the only people that have this, by the way. This is not going to, and oh man, I forgot. There was one gentleman I was going to add to our list for today. He has to be included. I've been trading with him. I've known him for a long time. It's Jason Whitman.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to bring him in so he could learn this training, and I forgot all about it. With Carl's help in doing the Bandicam, I'll bring him in so he can at least watch the Bandicam. I forgot all about it. I got so many things going on. Getting charts up this morning. I'm gonna have to apologize to him. That's my fault because he wanted to see this. He is a very busy gentleman. I've known Jason for years. He's in a couple of the different testing groups that I'm in.
Well,
He is. Go ahead.
call him and have him join now.
It's too late. We're most of the way done, actually. What I'm going to be doing is next, after we get through with this, is actually going into the ATM build so that I can confirm what you want. Okay. Darn it. That's my fault. That was strictly my fault. Potential trade setup here. A to P trade. Okay. As you see, you're into a chop zone. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Break out of chop zone. That's a maybe. Problem is, you're also in the gold zone for what I'm calling gold zone, the ICB zone. So you have a potential entry here. The very most you could hope for is going to 0.7 anyway. You're going to expect chop. I would be expecting to get taken out. Sure enough, some of these contracts probably would have come off at that wick. Okay. And we're still 1047. We're going back into the chop zone. Okay. Or actually the ICB zone, sorry. Potential trade setup here. The problem is we're in that zone. This is a major collection zone. And this particular trade, it went through it rather cleanly. But it wicked below it. But it did not wick here. As such, I would be very leery now that maybe this zone has possibly changed on us. By change, I mean that they're not doing as strongly a collection as they have been. Guess what? It reconfirmed back with a wick on this bar. It reconfirmed that's the total of that's our height. By that bar touching back in here, this is still valid. What happened was these are clusters here and here. It helped to drive the market. See the low VS number?
Yes.
It helped to drive the market. Somebody was pushing the market. Somebody was buying in here. And as you see, the EV was building again. Somebody was buying, and not just the one or two people. This was some big contracts coming in order to boost this thing and push this thing. It jumped from a 29 down to 19. That's not the smallest possible, but it's a good drop. Then 46, then we get divergence at the top. This is telling me this is still a valid, even though this run said that this might be questionable. Okay,
Wow.
so, but isn't that, but block order, block order, block order. I changed my block orders. And then another one back up here. But this right here confirmed that that top level is still valid. So we keep our size the same. And we've already been trading at 11 o'clock now, guys.
Well, it's only one trade that's broken through it.
Yeah.
And it came back and confirmed the box.
Correct. But what I'm pointing out, and the important part, is look at the EV buildup.
Uh-huh.
And we are fortunate in that the VS number is showing us. Look at the divergence. Look at the divergence. Divergence here I'm expecting because of the 25 deviation. But I was expecting wicks in here. I would not be in this trade. We did get a wick up here, but that didn't prove that that's still valid. That the height is still valid. It might be down lower. It might be down to here. Okay. But now when we had that bar come back in and wick out and continue, that proves that this is still a valid line. I hope everybody understands that. Sometimes I say things and I just go on. I don't make sure that people are understanding. But look, it proves it again. That is still, even though it's a P to X trade, that is still being proven as an area of concern, an area to be very careful. And it is still our ICB zone, our RCB area. because it keeps proving it, and actually within 6 bars it proved it 3 times.
Wow.
So it's proving that's still our top, and it is 11:24. We have a breakout here. This one I would take with a whole heart. We have 2 bars. As such, we do require half the blue band. If it's only 1 bar, the blue band does not count. If 2 or more, you are required for the KISS setup to have the blue band half a bar or more. So that is a potential, and it actually is our first green. EV's good. We come up here, we've got potential entry here. Okay, so actually I would be on that one, and we're coming up on, I'm sorry, I got to change back to the X because I can't see this. So there would be our actual, my entry, 2 ticks above, the close of that bar. And then the first one would be off. Actually, the first contract would be off here. The second contract at this level would be off on this bar about here. And now the third contract is actually down just a little bit below break even. As this bar is about ready to close, that first contract now will come up to a positive. It won't come up to the close of the first bar, entry bar, but it will come to a positive. So it's probably going to be somewhere in there to start with. We're running 6 ticks. We're manually now where it's up to us, because the first and second are off. It's manually our duty to follow this. And you might take it up to the flux level. Don't normally. I never use flux levels as a target. You might just bring it to the the top of the first full bar after entry and leave it there. Okay, that's 11.25 showing there. That's 44. That's 45 ticks plus the entry bar plus the second bar, the first full bar. So that's 40. What's that? 45 plus 26 plus 24, whatever that equals. That's how many ticks actually the 3-bar contract would get. Okay. And then that's a safe bet, keeping it there. That's actually 1, 2. That's the 3rd bar back. So but this one you would have actually had to manually manipulate because it needed that bar to be up here in order for it to physically move it to that bar. So you would actually manually have to move that. Okay, we're continuing, and as you see, we're going back into chop, and there's really not much of anything here. This would need to be extended. Any questions on this? Because basically I'm ready to go into the ATM. This is your last opportunity. I keep repeating myself because I need to drill this in, what I'm doing or what I'm seeing. And this information will relate to money in your bank because you're going to stay out of these areas, these overnight areas that cause so much havoc. I've known of them before. I've never been able to define how to show them. This probably will only affect us during the summer months because the regular trading season, which is coming up end of September, that time the volumes are such that they'll overseed these areas. Right now, they're extremely important to us, as trading the summer doldrums is always risky. And this is one more tool to help you understand areas of concern, areas to stay out of. And that's the only way I can put this. This is your last chance for questions, gentlemen. Anyone, please?
Craig, on this, until we get a real feel for how to do this, will you, in the early morning, be able to kind of give us an idea on a couple of markets where you're looking at the ICBs?
Yeah, I can. I can probably do NQ and RTY. The main reason I probably won't be able to get the rest of them, like CL and 6E and such, is that I have a lot of requirements in the morning that, as you're aware, that first hour is run and gun. But I can probably at least make a notation in the OFC
Sure.
NQ, and I'll just give you two numbers, one divided by, and then the other one divided by the other one. Those are top and bottoms. I can probably do that, which is at least a start. And what you then do is go in and check. You please check these and define if you can do it any better.
If you
Okay.
do that, that could be fantastic to
Okay,
help
but
us
that's
identify them.
okay. But please understand, this is only a beginning.
Yeah.
I need you to understand what these are, how I'm coming about them, and why I'm marking them. I think you understand why I'm marking them. Need you to also be able to draw them. That's why I've actually gone through 3 charts today.
No, I fully understand, personally fully understand why you mark them, but I have a, I don't see clearly how you pick them up, because
And
seems to be discretionary
that
a
is
lot.
that is correct. That is something we will always have, just as using the VAD. We
Yeah.
ran into with our group when we way back when Steve will remember this, when running the VAD and dual VADs, and we were actually marking levels on the VAD for if it has to be above this level or more for entry. This is a long time back, guys, a couple years ago, and that was very much discretionary. It's up to the individual traders to
When I
see
did
it.
3 months of the VAD jump up, remember?
Yep, that's it. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And so much of that is arbitrary in what the individual trader is seeing, and this is no different. What I see and what you see might be two different areas or defined differently at different levels, and that's okay. But do you see the chop boxes? I'm sorry, back up. Do you see the actual bars with wicks, and are you defining them with the bars with wicks, where there's a minimum of 2 for the top, and you're doing it off the body of the bar, and a minimum of 2 off the bottom for also with a body of the bar? That's our definition, and that's the only thing I can describe. You have to
Yeah.
kind of go from
Yeah.
there.
Because
Okay.
on this particular one, on the one on NQ, the way you picked up the bottom one, it's a very wide one, and
Right.
I don't know.
Oh, I agree, and it was because of that deviation level at the very beginning.
Yeah.
See, this is actually
And it's a very, very wide area.
This must have been.
So many times it may be that we're not able to trade all day.
Yeah. See, this is actually on the bottom one we did.
Yeah.
Where it started here. This is very much arbitrary.
No, this one here, I like it, and I picked up this one here very, very easily.
Okay, see you have back here.
The one you did in the morning.
Right. The morning is a little harder to find. It has to be done on the actual larger bars. It does not work if you do it on the regular 52 tick bars in this case. You will get hurt because you will not have it showing correctly. You need to use the bigger bars. And that's why we're defining by the body of the bar, not by the wick of the bar. See, here it's showing wicks, but when we actually drew it on the 78 tick bars, this was actually part of the body of the bar and in definition, but it's confirming. See, now there's actually our first on the 52 tick, there's actually first and second confirmed for height. We have a possible here. We do have one here. We have others down in here, which are very possible. So we know this is going to be close, but because it was defined by the larger bars, we're watching for more in this area in order to bring this line down for the current day.
Craig, on that top, scroll back to the left again, to the beginning of that. No, to the beginning of the ICB.
Okay.
The 2 bars you're using for that top definition of the box, that line is not going down to the body; it's going near the top.
That one was on the other side, Mike.
But remember, this is 52.
Yes. Okay,
this box was drawn. Correct. This box was drawn from 78.
78. Yeah. Okay.
And that was actually on the body of the bar, and that's why when you transfer it, you will see. And can we redefine this? Possibly. We only know as the bar goes along. Remember, this is still midnight.
Right.
Well, it's actually yesterday, 6:30, 6:30 in the morning. But it's possible we might be able to define this down to that level for the size bars. But guess what? Now we've got the breakout. It hit a deviation level, which we're expecting a wick. So that didn't help us any. And we're going along, going along, going along. And we actually now have open. We're going along. We're trying to look to see if we can redefine this area. And so far, nothing has redefined the area. Again, it broke out, but we did have a wick right there, guys. See that? That helped define this area. That helped define that is still the top. Then it hit again here in reverse. So that continued to define that as the top, which we did with the 78 tick bars. I hope that makes sense.
Yes.
Hello, great. Maybe I'm sorry to, maybe it's to asking too much, but maybe there is a possibility, if this is not too hard for you, at least the first week, to give the number of those area to the market that usually we trading, until we can figure it out how to draw those area. I don't know. I just
Okay.
come up
Well,
with that idea because it's gonna be. I already know it's gonna be a little bit difficult to find out those muddy. I don't know.
I understand. I understand, Ovidia. What I'm going to do for the first week here in the OFC, I will give you a market, and I'll give you a number divided by a number. And that is actually what I have for like the mid-sized bars or whatever I'm doing. I won't give you the bar sizes because you should be able to find that yourself, which you're currently all doing.
Yeah.
But I'll give you the ICB levels, the top divided by the bottom, and then you can verify and do your own. And I'll do it for NQ and I'll do it for RTY. I will do that for the week here to make sure to help.
Thank you.
It's up to you guys to go back to convert your charts, to go back and look and say, okay, that's what he did, and he did it from here to here. You need at least a minimum of 2 bars with wicks, and on the larger bars, go off the body of the bar, don't go off the wick, because it's going to be huge, as you already see. This ICB for Friday for NQ, if I included the wicks, that ICB would probably be a little above the negative 0.25. That's how big that thing would be. It would be almost deviation to deviation if I included wicks. By doing the body of the bar, it actually helps define a smaller area. Okay?
Oh,
Very good.
Yeah, thank you. But another question: to draw all the lines, all those boxes, whatever you want to call, institution zone, whatever. They have to be always on the bigger bar size. I'm talking, for example, Friday we was 52 on NQ, so multiply for 1.5, and then they come up, whatever, 78, 77.
78, yeah.
78.
Yeah.
They have to be draw always with those big, with the big bar size. Is correct?
Correct, but it can be drawn pre-market before the open of the market is done. Then that whole band, that area will continue throughout the day. All you're doing now is watching for bars to enter and exit the zones. You're looking for wicks coming off of those bars, touching the top of the zones or touching the bottom of the zones, because then that is confirming that zone is still there. But you only need to do this one time early morning, and do it pre-US Open, which is at 9:30.
Yeah, but always have to be with the big bar size. That's
correct.
Right.
And then you take your diagnostic bars and convert it back to the actual trading size, or on NQ this particular day it was 52 ticks.
Yeah. Before the market's open. This is only to draw the line, to draw those boxes.
That's all it's for. That's the only reason you're changing your diagnostic chart early in the morning, is to be able to get these zones or
Okay.
zone. If you get two zones, it'll be very evident. It'll be noticeable. Again, doing the same way, looking for wicks, and they're separated, and
Yeah.
you'll notice it. But then once you continue them over, you can continue them as far as the chart will allow you to, so you don't have to keep extending it and extending it and extending it. And then you just wait. Trade your trades. Look for KISS. Look for breakouts.
Mhm.
Valid trades. They will be there. You're not going to get a lot of them, especially because of the size of the bars. But this is the one Friday NQ where I picked up 100 some odd ticks. It was a huge, I don't even remember where it was. Here it is. See how we're actually, we'll call the bottom of this 15. Was that it then? I'm not sure. Da, 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 da. No, I don't think it was that one. I had a big trade coming up somewhere on NQ. I don't even remember where it was, and I picked up some hits on it. But you see that there's potential trades there. You're seeing that they're in the zone, but the problem in the zone is that this thing can wick on you at any time. You're looking for confirmation that the big boys are still collecting contracts, which they will throughout the day. And you find that with the wick here, even though it's up at the 0.25 deviation. Again, here where it came down and touched. Again, here where it came down and touched. So, you're taking what you can outside of those zones. Is what you're doing. And there's actually end of day. We ended up back here somewhere at 12 noon. But it shows you that this thing was cycling in and out of the zone all day long. And it's being driven into those zones by larger money because of the volume. The markets are being driven into those zones like herding cattle so that they can continue to, collect contracts. They can continue with what they did overnight to build on the positions they already had, to sell off some of their positions to help drive the markets, and then to rebuild the rest of it. Okay, what we're going to do now is actually review the new ATM calculator. This is what you're going to be getting here at the end of it. The only thing that's different is the 5 and 6. 5 and 6, 5 and 6. That's the only changes you need. The rest of the stuff will be very consistent. As you see, number one, you can trade this anywhere from 1 contract to 99 contracts if you want. And it's by combining them on one contract on number 1 contract on number 2, 1 contract on number 3, where you have one that takes profit at the close of the entry bar, one which is what these numbers are. You have one that takes profit at the close of the entry bar. You have the second one take profit at the close of the first full bar, which is the number 4, the purple. And then the number 5 actually brings it to a runner state and then it will move. I think it takes 1 bar, it sits, and then it follows 3 bars back, which are currently tighter than the hash marks you see. But because of these zones, I was getting hurt. These ATMs were not working. And they were not working because we were taking trades. I was taking trades inside these zones. And as you saw Friday, so it must have been Thursday that had 2, NQ had 2 zones. But when you're taking trades inside there, this is what happens. You get a lot of bars coming back. They might continue. They might not show a wick, but they've actually come back enough to take you out. And that's what was happening, as everybody attested to on the prior ATM. Now, using the added information of the ICB zones, institutional collection zones or institutional collection band, we're using that information and not trading in that information, this ATM is right on the money for any trades that you take. Now you will, because of the institutional collection bans, the ICBs, you will get a few less trades each day. Each day in the summer months, we're actually restricting back. We're only taking the better of the trades. And as you saw from the couple that I marked up, 23 times 4 is 80, 90, 92 ticks. The other was 24, 5, I think it was, which is 80, 90, 96 ticks. Anyway, 97 and 98 ticks. 98 ticks. And that adds up. I mean, we're getting, and if you compare the daily report, you're seeing less number of trades, but you're seeing big trade counts. Yesterday on NQ, oops, wrong one. That's my my daily collection of information. Okay, yesterday on NQ was 354 ticks total net. 3 trades for 354 ticks, no losses. Since this has been implemented, I've had 1 loss, and that was this day. The fit was at the 15th. Sorry. That was is that the 18th? I don't think this is going to show. There it is. That's the only day I had a loss. But still, look at the tick count. 106 ticks in 4 trades. But they did have a loss, a valid loss. That's big. That's big, guys. The average tick count is huge by comparison. This is not complete because the month is not complete. So the days are not complete, but look at the NQ, look at the days and what they're talking about ticks per day, 91, 603, 1,837 ticks per day. And this is currently on a 4-day week. And then I need to compute it for a 5-day week, which is down here, this part. This is total counts for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is a mean averages per day is what this is.
Three contracts per trade. You're running the 3 contracts.
This act, what you're seeing these numbers, what you're seeing these numbers here, no, this is only one contract. I cannot change how I add up my charts and my numbers right midstream. I am stuck with, and I have to do this continuously for the rest of the year as 1 contract trades.
Right.
And what do you count? The 3rd contract, Craig?
Yes, basically I'm looking for the runner. I'm using the runner whenever possible. But remember, I'm also setting this where these numbers where the trade, okay, these are actually NQ for the day, what I did on Friday. These numbers for 6E, a 30 tick means it closed, the trade entered and closed on and it was actually recorded, and I collected ticks based on the 2nd bar, the first full bar. At the close of that bar, that's actually where I took my end. That's 30 there ticks, which are actually 6 because of the manipulation. But if the number was 10 in here, it would actually have been like 2 ticks profit because of the multiplication. Now this 26 for the day, if you add these up, it doesn't make sense. But when you convert that back, because it adds up to 130 ticks, but when you convert that back, and you get 26 ticks on it, it's because of the conversion of the numbers, the way the ruler works, the ruler shows. Okay, 2 tick for CL is normal. That's a scalp. These first 2 are scalps. The first one is entry bar scalp. The second one is actually the first bar scalp. Here's a entry bar scalp, and this one went to a deviation level because it's an odd number, 0.7, for a total of 17 ticks for the day. Our 9 a.m. until noon CL trades, 1 contract. That's how to read this thing. But RTY only had 1. I thought there was 1 in here, and I was actually mistaken, so I had to remove it. And I'm actually not taking these with the ICB zones. I'm only doing this as a chop box like we normally. I can't change the way I do the numbers midstream. I have to continue them for the full year. And as such, that's why CL, I only got scalps. I didn't have any big numbers. 6E, these are scalps also. I didn't have any big numbers. Okay, the same here, 1.9 on NQ, which was a 20 tick bar. That's basically probably the first bar. I got one trade where the entry bar would have closed and the first full bar would have closed, and the third bar taken out at the close of the first full bar. In reality, for 3 contracts, but 1 contract only shows us the 1.9. So it's deceiving because I have to maintain when I started at the first of the year. I have also indicating what tick sizes. I have gone to mid-size bars from last month. This was last month, and I indicated where the mid-size bars change was, and then the coloration for those bars. Those were the numbers you saw that I posted at the end of the month, right here. And those are the win rates that I posted at the end of the month. Okay. It's not too often we get below. And the reason that our win rate was down below 90 is because of the losses. Even after mid-sized bars, we did have 1 loss. But look at this, 2 losses here, 1 loss, 2 losses, 1 loss, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2. That hurts. That destroys your win rate because it takes a while to catch up. But by coming back with mid-sized bars, and so we had the roll, and then we had the mid-sized bar changeover, the numbers actually improved. And this is last month. This is June. We're actually in July. And you're seeing the numbers that we're seeing here. And you're seeing very few losses. We've had 3 losses for the month, actually, total for NQ. But we've also produced 4,263 ticks in 58 trades. Win or lose, that's the net. You do the division out to what it's worth. That's 20 some ticks about it, average. Okay, numbers can be deceiving is how they're manipulated. Their win rates do not count. They only get computed at the end of the month. But this is actually our current month, which next week will come to an end. You will be given the information again next week when it is completed. Then this will be corrected for the number of days per week. But this numbers, they're continuing. Look at that. Look at Wednesday, 1,832 ticks total for the month on Wednesday only for NQ. And it's basically Friday YM. That's RTY, not YM. I'm sorry, but I have to figure out what's going on here. Something's out of whack. But that's why this information is provided, is so that you can see this. If you want to do the numbers, it's there. If you don't want to do the numbers, it's there. It's easier to read. You don't need to. If all you want to see, because the only thing that really matters ultimately, the market and what it did for the month. The market and what it did for the month. The market, what it did for the month. That's all you really need. This information, the colors, is helpful. You can see it tells you on changes that have been happening up and down based on the coloration that we have here. So it's all valuable stuff. Okay. But that same thing, now that we have those ICBs, now your ATM will work. And the only numbers that are being changed from prior to now is these numbers, the 6, 5 and 6, purple and yellow for the second contract and for the third contract. And then there's the rest of the yellow or orange, however you want to call it. Then it continues for the runner. That's what this is. This is the runner when it first kicks in, gets it into pots. And this then allows for the running. Any questions on this, gentlemen? But I want to show it to you because now that you know about ICBs, now I will issue the new 3-step calculator, and I will also issue a Word document of what we reviewed and went over, and kind of the best I could to put it into words, what we went over today.
When you when the tick changes that you're trading, the daily tick, you redo your ATM, or do you have separate ATMs for individual tick sizes?
Good question. I myself actually will have pre-built and pre-staged ATMs. I call them, like this is a 10 tick. 3 contract, 10 tick, 3 contract, and it's the ATM. It's the main one. If this will show on here, because sometimes they don't. Let's see. Okay. I'm gonna pull this off for a second. Nuts.
No, man, we don't have to say.
I don't know what I did something. I'll have to work on it later. But this is more or less for 10 tick, 3 contract. This is how I define them. And you do have to be careful because sometimes I'm finding this inter one changing. My second contract, which is what I'm looking at now, should be 2. It's not showing. So this happened to me last week also. I actually lost a second contract because this is not it. See, when I went up here, it should be 10T 2C is what I'm looking for, and I don't. Those are the 8 ticks. I don't see it, so I actually lost a contract, which has been happening. But what we know that this one, which is for contract number 3, is there right here, so I can bring it up. And that's one of the things I've been checking lately. Bring up my ATM for the day, check it, see if something is missing or something has changed. We've been getting some MS updates, and quite
What
honestly,
is
it's been
important for that, Craig, is that when you save the ATM, you have to make sure that at the stop strategy, it shows there the trailing one.
correct. And actually, prior
Once you
wise,
save it that way, then it will keep it all the time.
no, it won't. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
That's
rather than the custom, you know?
Yeah, that is the proper way to do it, and I agree. But because of some of the current, and I'm suspecting the Microsoft updates,
Mm.
I'm losing these. And so I've now gone back to checking them daily, whatever the current size is. But the only number you're going to be changing is these two, profit target and the plus. That's the only numbers you're actually going to be changing. Okay.
Mike, I do the same. Like Craig, I save each one like he's showing right now for different size, bar size.
Yeah, it's a whole lot more convenient. That way you can continue with your ATM. Because of the way this is set up, I can only do one at a time. Because I'm online, because I'm actually on camera, I don't know if I can bring up that. I'm hoping it will allow me to bring that forward. And this was 28 tick, I believe. What I need to do is to get this. Bear with me one moment. I'm going to try and do is removing this chart off of here, which wouldn't allow me to do a minute ago. Okay. Now I'll bring them back. This is 28 tick. We've changed this over to 28 tick. The number 1 area, all of them are going to be 23. Okay, see right there, 28. This is what's going on? Okay. The calculator did kick in. Weird things happen when you're on camera. All right, 28 tick. The initial stop should be 33 ticks. As you see, I've set this up for 3 contracts. The first one takes profit at 12. The second one takes profit at 26.
Trouble with the connection. Please try again in a moment.
No, that's me, Craig. Sorry.
Okay. The second one actually takes profit at 26, but we're going to have a stop moved prior to that. And this is where it moves. At 11 ticks, it moves to minus 17 back. At 11 ticks, it moves to minus 17 back. 5 and 6, we don't have anything below. For the third contract, which has been saved, again, 5 and 6 are going to be 11 and 17, the same numbers. Then it follows these 12, 99, 40. 12 goes right to left. This is actually left to right up on top. Right to left, 12, 99, 40, 28, 14, 30, 28, 14, 30. Then you save it. And then you save again to bring these in and then save them again. And then you have a valid ATM that'll stay. Please check these daily. I have been finding changes. As one I just pointed out on Tentic, it actually disappeared. It was there, but it is not now, so I have to rebuild it. And that's the advantage of having the contract. But all you need to enter is whatever your current tick size is. If you're running 58 tick bars, there you go. There are your numbers. You're running 52 tick like NQ for Friday, there are your numbers. If you're running RTY at 20 tick, there are your numbers. There's your stops. Takes profit at 8, 13. The stop moves at 8 when it's at the positive 8 because the first one's taken, so the second and third is still working, which is what the purple and blue and orange are. 8 and 13. Then it takes profit at the 18 here.
This is very nice, Craig. Thank you.
Okay. So that's the hardest part, was getting it to work. But what wasn't working was the ICB bands we were running into. They were killing this contract and driving me crazy until I figured out and had an aha moment of what they are and why they're there. It's not just seeing something, it's understanding why it's happening. And that was the aha. I go, oh, now I know. So I've been trading these, and Jason's actually been along with me. That was my fault today. I'll have to apologize to him. I will allow him a link into our room when Carl posts the Bandicam, so that he can at least see what we go on. Sorry, Jason, I apologize. But this is the new ATM which we will be getting. I have also put together, where is it? A
Word document?
yes. Nope, not that one. I've got so many things that I've been doing lately, especially the contract daily size. Nope. But there is a document I put together, a Word document, a review of what we have been doing today, how we've been doing this. I know it's not what's important. It's not let's see, another aha moment. Okay. That's the one I will be sending to you guys. It is a double page, my aha moment, and defining what and where. So this will fit in. I did it all on one page, trying to keep consistent, trying to keep it in sync. I did it real quick in, but I think if you visually review this and then go back to what you learned in the video here, the webinar, I think it should help put together for you. But I'll be sending both of those out to you today when we're done here. But this is a written form, kind of what we did, and then we have the ATM contract, which you'll also be getting. All right, question and answer, guys. This is the last of it. So I'm done. Now it's just up to you what you need to know.
No, that's all for me. Thank you very much. Oh, I meant Ovidio.
Very good, Craig.
You're welcome.
I wanted to ask Ovidio if he was able to set up the ATM.
Hello. No, yes, sorry. I'm a little bit out of focusing right now. My wife came in to take a little bit lunch.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to know if you were able to set up the ATM.
Yeah, that's the thing. I still have a problem to understand how to set up the ATM.
Okay, I can help you then. During the week, I will help you.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Now, Mike, if you should still be listening, but Mike, as you're aware, none of this actually applies to you. Everything everything you're doing is going to be a little bit bigger. Your
Right.
bar sizes are going to be bigger. Your chop zones are going to be bigger. But
Mike is from Texas, right?
yeah, yes.
Everything is bigger.
Ah,
you're gonna you're gonna find that your ICB zones are still there when you check pre-open,
yeah,
and they're going to be big. So please make sure and try and do them to the body of the bar to try and keep them as small as you can.
I
Keep
will.
an eye on them throughout the day. They might possibly change, as I indicated when we went through the NQ chart, but they will ultimately confirm again for you, usually multi times. They are good for the day, and then you start over the next morning.
Okay, excellent.
Okay, good.
Good. Yes, sir.
But they were applicable to you. They still work, and you have to decide if to take it when it's in a chop zone, a breakout, and it's in an ICB zone. You can decide, and the only way you can make that decision is looking back for past history and past zones.
Okay,
If you'll spend the time to say go back the whole week and do them daily, because you don't need to use a replay. You can just use it on a chart like I've done today.
that's what I'm gonna do this weekend, look at
Yeah.
that.
You go back at least a week and then start noticing if you took a breakout trade from your regular chop zone, would it work or would it be reversed or whatever? In other words, am I going to get scalped? Am I going to get any decent ticks off it? And only you can decide by prior history whether this will work or not. You are different than what we are because you're on even bigger bars yet, which will affect your markets even more than it affects us.
Okay,
By the same token, your breakouts and your valid trades are going to be huge.
right, yeah,
It's just, because you can stay in that trade a week if you want. We
Yeah.
can't. We can't. We're day trading.
right,
We cannot. You can actually get in, say, save 100 ticks and put a stop at 100 ticks, and then come back tomorrow and start over.
that's correct, yes,
Okay. So you even if you get taken out overnight, so what? You still got 100 ticks.
right,
And a tick to you is worth $1.
right,
Not like us with worth 5. But you have the ability to continue with this, and it will be profitable for you. You just have to be a little more adaptive than what we're doing because you require bigger bars.
right, okay,
It's there, and what we have here today is still applicable to you. It's still valuable information for you. You just have to be a little more adaptive than what
Right.
we have to.
I'm gonna go over it this weekend. Go back
Okay,
to-
great. Great. Okay, any other questions, gentlemen? We're about ready to tie it up, but it's up to you. We're already at wow, 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's great.
I want to make sure everybody understands. So
Right.
are we
Yeah.
good,
Thank
everybody?
you. I'm good. I'm good.
Steve, good. Carl, you
Yeah.
okay?
I'm good, thank you.
Mike, you all right?
Yes, sir, good.
Obi, are you okay with
Yes.
this? Are you okay with this?
I am okay with everything. Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
All right, gentlemen, we're gonna call it a day, and I'm gonna get me some breakfast.
Thank you very, very much,
All
Craig.
right. Thanks,
You're
Craig.
welcome, guys.
Presentation, Craig, thank you.
I will be
All right.
getting this Word document shortly, along with the new ATM. Your other ATM, the only thing that was changed, like I said, is 5 and 6. Please discard that because you can still. There's really not big enough stops on 5 and 6. That's why the new one. All right. All right.
Job number 1, Craig. Have a breakfast first.
I'm gonna try. Usually it's just coffee, and I don't eat until after 12 noon here.
No, then it doesn't matter. Then you can download it.
All right, guys. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Very well.
Okay. Thank
Look this
you.
over the weekend and enjoy it. I think this can be more beneficial to you because it is defining another zone to stay away from. And that is what has been bugging me for a long time.
Yeah, yeah,
Now I understand how to do it.
excellent.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Craig.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Nevo. Bye, everybody.